Knock knock. I don't know how to start videos. Steven Universe gets a lot of hate and a lot of love. Let's see if we can work out why people have such polarizing opinions. Now, I don't think it's this, but let's tackle the most obvious reason for the hate first, and that would be the political stuff. It's no secret that Steven Universe is pretty left-leaning. If you're familiar with the feminist movement, there's a push for diversity in characters, and that's visible here. You generally don't see fat characters unless it's for a plot reason, and you generally don't see very emotional boy characters or majority female casts outside of harems. Also, perhaps more significantly, there's a lot of obvious subtext moments that are about feminist talking points. Now, I'll be the first to say that I don't associate with this kind of thing. Hell, I'm the total opposite of this ideology. Okay, I mean, maybe not that opposite. Sorry. Point is, personally, I don't care what kind of ethics or political message your show tries to represent. You know, when you're actually arguing ethical or political points, it matters, because convincing other people can save lives and livelihoods and generally move society in a bad direction. But if you make a stupid joke about the wage gap, I don't care as long as it's funny. Like this clip of a 12-year-old drowning in pussy. I mean, yes, it's spreading misinformation, but it's a creative medium. Trying to boycott people and restrict what they can do on any level is unnecessary. Unless you're making a documentary, something which is designed to be factual, it's everyone's responsibility to take the political message of any piece of art with a grain of salt. Trying to control it just so other people don't have to think makes you no better than Anita Sarkeesian. And if your argument is, well, it's aimed at kids, they don't know any better, yeah, there are these things called parents that children spend the majority of their life with. If anyone is responsible for how they interpret the world, it's them. You'll never be able to defend a child from misinformation. Misinformation is everywhere. What's important is that they're given critical thinking skills to question everything, discuss, and search out evidence. Let artists do whatever they want. That's their fucking job. I don't know why I went on that tangent, that was kind of irrelevant. Also, if you want to talk about fandoms and shit, go see the start of my Undertale video. I just want to talk about the show itself right now and people's negative reactions to it. See, now I don't think that's where the hate really comes from. If I actively search for Steven Universe hate, a couple of things regularly come up, but the politics seems to be only one of the many criticisms, and only ER really made it a big focus. And ER is... Look, I love you, man, but you want to tell me why everything you've heavily criticized, even on a story level, is something that you think has left-wing politics? You know, I'm kind of sensing a pattern here. To be honest, I'm not particularly interested in offering counter-arguments to pre-existing arguments anyway against Steven Universe. There's a lot of them, and some of them I think are fallacies that I'll handle in other videos. I just did politics because I think that's kind of the elephant in the room that I should at least address. Anyway, I'm just going to offer my own explanation and back it up with a bunch of examples. So, what do I think it is? Well, I think Steven Universe started out flat out bad. And if you know me, I rarely use that word. For something to actually qualify as bad, I literally have to prefer doing nothing than watching the show in question. See, I really love the show now, but the fact I managed to get through the earlier episodes was really lucky. I had a lot of people talking about it. I saw part of Jailbreak, one of the last episodes of the first season, and it looked interesting, and finally one of the YouTubers I've been subscribed to since a young teen uploaded a video of it, and I was like, fuck it, and downloaded the entire season. So I got through the first episode and I was like, wow, this is shit. And then I got to episode 40 and I was suddenly crying. See, I really did not like the first episode, but the combination of wanting to see what the fuss was about and already having the entire season, and just generally my curiosity whenever I run into something so bad and yet so popular, I just said, whatever, lowered my expectations and just rolled with it. And I am definitely not the only one who hated the start. I effectively got 4 of my friends to watch the first episode and no one wanted to watch the next one. In contrast, I then got them to watch Infinity Train, something I considered to be an amazing first episode, and all of them wanted to watch the next one. Sucks to be them, there wasn't a next one. Aww. Furthermore, if you rank all the current episodes of Steven Universe by whatever, their user scoring system, you have to go down 53 episodes to find anything before episode 24. It is objectively provable that even among the fans, the later episodes were far better received than the earlier ones. See, episode 24 is the turning point of the series. You have to get to specifically this point if you're thinking about pushing yourself through the series. It becomes tolerable through episode 17 to 23, apart from like one episode. But 24 is where the changes start happening in the plot, where you get the first strongest moment of character death, the funniest jokes start kicking in, and the show overall becomes actually likable. Okay, I mean, Fusion Cuisine was a bit shit, question mark? What? Did I actually write down a question mark? Alright, paragraph long thesis over. So why do I think people have this initial reaction to Steven Universe? Okay, there are 2 major factors. Firstly, I think the characters are incredibly unlikable. I mean, I imagine if you didn't find this, you're probably just a more tolerable person. You can take that as a compliment. But most of us seemingly just can't put up with this kind of shit. Steven, the main character, is the worst offender of this. He's so incredibly whiny and socially inept. In one episode, he continuously disobeys his guardians who tell him not to do things because it's dangerous, and for what? Literally, he wants to eat breakfast with them. Like, the gesture is nice, but going this far for it when people have already told him no is a level of self-entitlement and incompetence that I just can't... He clearly does this for his sake and no one else, and he is constantly doing stupid shit throughout this part of the series. Oops, touched a thing that they told me not to. Oops, didn't bring literally the one thing I was required to bring with me and brought a whole bunch of other random shit instead. Even brought something as unnecessary as a stuffed toy. I mean, sometimes he shows genuine incompetence, and sometimes he saves the gems, but even then it's because he's angry because his fucking ice cream freezer got destroyed. Nope, no genuine concern for other people here. But any moment of competence is greatly outweighed by his other failures and general whininess. Here's Steven and Amethyst, literally pressuring a shopkeeper who just closed into giving them something off menu just by constantly repeating it. No arguing, and no reasoning, just repeat fucking whining. The lack of manners and social understanding from this kid is fucking astounding. Literally, your first introduction to him is him whining about how his favorite brand of ice cream isn't in stock, and he's just so cringy. He's constantly trying to look cool when he's very clearly not. Can you stop the smooth voice and too cool for an attitude? You're ordering pizza! And look, I get that basically every instance of him doing this is under the pretense of a joke, but unless the character themselves is joking about being whiny and cringy, they're still a cringy and whiny character. It's just mildly funny as well. The humor is the one thing that's still enjoyable about the early episodes, but when I don't like the characters, it does make it a little hard to enjoy the jokes or care about anything that's happening to them. The only way you could make this character more annoying is if there were multiples of him. Which, thank God that oh my fucking god! The universe hates me as much as I hate this universe. I get that you can do some level of justification with characters doing unlikable shit. I've gotten top comments twice before about me being too harsh on kids being kids, so maybe it's too far for me to say people should hate them, but that doesn't mean I want to spend time with them. You wouldn't want to spend time with a child like this in real life, so why would you sit down and watch them as your entertainment? That's a rhetorical question for about 1 to 5% of you. And besides, compare this to like PD.
You get cash. Cash that can't buy back what the job takes. Not if you rode every seahorse in the world.
Whoa. Whether or not Steven is justified in being a brat, who would you rather spend time with?
Can you show me something cool? Like the boomerang blade!
Steven, you know that's not a real sword technique.
Boomerang blade! Boomerang blade!
See, now around the episode 17 point, this starts to shift. You get less annoying and obnoxious scenes, and he shifts into something more playful and friendly, and his kindness and understanding as a character really starts to flower. In the test, he straight up sacrifices his own concerns to make his guardians feel better about their concerns. In other episodes, he talks to and helps Sadie, he shares open dialogue and has a discussion with Lapis to solve a problem, he has a willingness to help in situations that other characters dismiss as lost causes. Anytime he screws up past this point is because the situation was legitimately complicated, as opposed to, oh man, this is really dangerous and everyone's angry at me, but I really want to have breakfast. In Mirror Gem, it's completely understandable to slap away Garnet. She tries to force Steven to do something without explaining the reason, and the Mirror Gem he's protecting clearly has thoughts and feelings and doesn't want Garnet to take it away either. Even then, he apologizes immediately, and when his actions here later do cause a problem, he takes responsibility and sets out to fix what he's done. Any petty disputes in later episodes is caused by other characters and is no longer caused by Steven. In fact, they're helped by him. And so what we're left with is what Steven always should have been. A kind and sweet kid who does things in the interest of others and is the true voice of reason and morality. Who will be the bridge between our world and the spirit world? Actually, it's kind of scary how well that works. But yeah, if you're still saying it's fine to have this bratty kid as the main character, you tell me what you prefer more between these two phases. I get you could call this character development, but 1, I was not invested at all in Steven until he became this, so I don't care for his change outside of the fact that now the show itself is better. And 2, there's no clear line of logic that created this change in Steven. He just kinda changes. The strongest character developments are those with the big, understandable changes. Even if you count this as character development, I guarantee no one noticed it. They just simply started to like Steven more. Alright, Steven done. Next worst offender would probably be Garnet. Now, I fucking love Garnet. I think she's fantastic, and if I ever do a top 10 protagonist list, I'll no doubt put her somewhere on it. But just like Steven, I hate the way she starts out. She is just so goddamn boring. She feels like a cardboard cutout. Hell, sometimes she even looks like it. She has one mode, serious, that's it. She doesn't feel human at all, and I swear she only smiles like 7 times before episode 24. See, the thing is, personality doesn't make a character, or at the very least, it's not everything. It's just the first thing everyone thinks of because it's immediately obvious from looking at a character. But just by looking at every mundane cartoon ever, you can see differing personalities is something that everyone does. It's not the key to a good character. Just because Ghana is serious and stoic, i.e. a personality, doesn't make her a good character. You know what is though? Opinions. Especially those shown through actions. What makes Zuko interesting isn't because he's hot-headed and angry, it's how he feels about honor and destiny, his commitment to his goals and why, his love-hate relationship with his father, and what he wants from life. That is what truly makes a character. Opinions. Ghana has fucking none! She's just a serious piece of cardboard that does her job and very occasionally shows mild affection for Steven. I'd show examples, but what the fuck do I show you? Here's her not reacting while the other two talk. I feel like someone saw Steven and told Rebecca to make a serious attempt with her next character design, and she was like, I can do serious. She at least has some element of badass to her, but it's not like Mikasa levels, so I don't think it makes up for her lack of everything else. Literally, about the only hints of brief emotion you get from Ghana are these.
In your own Steven-y way. Alright, but be careful. You might trigger a trap with that gun show.
Yes, you are.
Mysterious.
But around the 17 episode mark, she starts to generate so many lines that just say something about who she is.
There has never been anything or anyone like Steven. We don't know what he needs.
Holy shit, an opinion! I write YouTube comments and even I'm happy to hear her do this. She starts to be so much more playful and affectionate towards Steven, and always tends to be the one who trusts him and gives him the benefit of the doubt.
Howdy. Bang.
I don't know why the fuck you did that, but I'll take it! Also, what's left of her seriousness is now dry wit.
Really going to let him keep that?
We kept Amethyst.
But her strongest character traits center around fusion. Alone Together and fusion in general is where Ghana has her strongest opinions, and really stops feeling like cardboard altogether. This kind of thing is what really makes her character, and you see none of it through the first half of Season 1. Finally, Pearl and Amethyst are interesting. Pearl is the one character that's probably alright. She does some cool things in the first 23 episodes, and is generally the one who seems to care and support Steven in enough frequency to be considered particularly nice. Also, she has this nice dapper aesthetic design to her, and she kinda seems like she has her shit together. She does not have her shit together. She does, however, have her own negative moments. She can be way too uptight. She gets annoyed at Amethyst for some legit reasons, but sometimes she gets genuinely annoyed just for little jokes. But overall, she rides the line between good and bad. Amethyst, on the other hand, is a slob, and can be incompetent, is incredibly immature, and this changes a little bit, but not by much, and I'm not particularly surprised that the fanbase thinks she's kinda...
Armrest is purple.
The main issue with both these characters, though, is the constant bitching about nothing. It's petty, it feels like wasted time, and it makes them look immature. And this time, no one could brush that criticism off with, oh, they're just kids, because the gems are literally thousands of years old. Ha! Fuck you! No, actually, it'll be interesting to see what people say to that, because I've been thinking a lot lately about my thoughts on melodrama. Although, as annoying and unredeeming as the melodrama is, I honestly can't fault this part of the series. The fighting between Amethyst and Pearl is important to deeper core issues to this character. And if it wasn't for the melodrama that I hated, I don't think I would have got to episode 40 on the run and started crying. The melodrama early on is necessary. It's just unfortunate that it made a really poor bunch of episodes even worse. Oh, to be fair, it's not completely all bad. There's some interesting mystery and things scattered here and there, but it's mostly outweighed. So, there you go. The characters early on are horrible. But that was just point number 1! The other major problem, I think, is it just kinda looks like shit. It's another one of my biases I've noticed fairly recently, actually. As a critic, you adopt this mentality that story is everything, but the fact that the movies like Mad Max Fury Road were successful when it was just like one long-ass action scene, and things like anime being way more popular than the manga even in the West, even when both require reading, indicates that visuals can inherently make things more engaging. Wait, why did I have these things made if I didn't think that? This is trippy, please stop. Look, so engaging visuals is kinda out of my area of study, so this is really gonna be a short note with no real evidence, but hopefully with a couple of comparisons shot you can kinda see what I mean. The background designs have always been really nice actually though, and it does improve at around about the 24 mark since the plot starts kicking in, and the backdrop creators really get to design some cool visuals for all the big, unique, dramatic places you visit. As for the foreground, I don't know, other people have looked into this before actually, so I won't go into it much. I am however 90% sure it's because of a lack of shading. Like the scenes where they use light sources do look pretty good in comparison, so there you go. This thing looks like someone flipped a Pokeball inside out, but that's it, I guess. It's only really 2 big issues. Actually, I suppose it's 3 if you consider the fact that the plot really only kicks in at about the episode 24 mark. So, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I think Steven Universe starts pretty bad, but if you push yourself through it, it can be so worth it. If you watched Adventure Time, you might know that Rebecca Sugar storyboarded a lot of the fan favorite episodes. It's clear that what she sucked at was creating likable characters, because what's interesting is that the star of most of those episodes, Marceline, wasn't created by Sugar. That was Pendleton Ward all the way back in Evicted. So there you go. There is a reason why people rave about this show. I just think how bad the start is leads people to set their opinion in concrete. But for those who can get past that, there's so much development and character depth, and I swear this show has made me tear up a good 10 times in different places. Hell, the last few episodes have been pretty plot twisty and brought so many new things to the table. Oh hey, I haven't actually really tested it much, but if you think you're never going to get past the first 23 episodes, try this instead. Start with episode 50, Story for Steven. It's a flashback episode about Steven's dad meeting the Crystal Gems, and it gives a pretty atmospheric, mysterious introduction to them. Also, it has the musical element of Steven Universe that didn't actually start until, like, episode 12. Steven's dad makes for a much less abrasive main character, and because it's a flashback, you end up getting enough of the lore and exposition to hopefully join up the dots. Because after you finish that episode, you can head straight to episode 24, An Indirect Kiss. This isn't exactly the best starting place to be introduced to Steven, because he doesn't do anything particularly nice here, but the plot starts moving straight away, and you'll get something to like Steven after 2 episodes. You will be confused about some aspects, especially a lot of the smaller stuff like names and places and small gym-related exposition, and you'll want to go back and watch Giant Woman when you're a couple of episodes in so you can understand the fusion system, which is really important. But other than that, I think that would work. All theoretical, haven't tested it. I'm sure it's not how the creators intended you to watch it, but between that and not experiencing it at all, I don't know, give it a shot. I was gonna give some kind of Nerdwriter-esque final line, but it's 2 o'clock as I'm scripting this, and it's not really me, so... go watch Steven Universe, you toaster-coughing transcendental slug humpers.